virtual photo walks.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Dominic Phillips with Virtual Photowalks, and today we're joined by Cameron Young of the Center for Snake Conservation out here based in Louisville, Colorado. And today we're going to hear Cameron's presentation and help dispel some myths about snakes, as well as teach us some facts and some interesting things that maybe a lot of us didn't know about. So again, thanks to Cameron Young for joining us today, and I'm going to kick it over to him, and he'll show you a lot of his little friends that he brought here for us today. And throughout the presentation, if you do have any questions, just let us know. And Cameron is a wealth of snake knowledge, and he'll let us know anything that we have questions about.
I saw him lamenting in a post that he hadn't been able to get out in the snow and couldn't find any snakes. So
oh yeah,
it's spring is coming. You're going to be able to get out, and I want to go along with you when you go on one of your field trips.
Yeah, we'll have to do that. Getting outside and looking for snakes is a lot of fun, and it just it beats snakes in captivity for sure.
I'm really looking forward. We'll have Dominic go along with you and cover your adventures.
All right. As Dominic said, I'm Cameron Young with the Center for Snake Conservation. I want to first take a chance to thank Virtual Photowalks and John and Dominic for hosting me. I think this is a great opportunity for us to reach people with our educational programs. One thing I can't do, and it's really kind of strange, is I can't talk without a snake in my hands. So anywhere I go, anywhere I visit, if they say, you can't bring a snake, we just want you to talk about them, I won't go. So it's just something that I do. So you'll see me with a snake. I might have one just wrapped around me for some parts of the time, and these are some of the most amazing animals in the world, and hopefully I can teach you all sorts of things about them so that if you did have a fear, we can move forward and help you look at them as a unique and interesting animal instead of one that you need to be afraid of. A little bit about the Center for Snake Conservation. It was founded in 2011 as a group that we want to. Our mission is to conserve snakes and their natural habitats, at the same time educate humans about them so that the conservation measures can be implemented for snakes. Snakes are one organism that really people don't like very much. They're killed intentionally, and they can't cross roads. Development really impacts them. If you ever see a snake try and cross a road, they slow down, and there's a lot of ecological reasons or behavioral reasons for why they slow down. We can get into that maybe with a snake later, but they're in desperate need of conservation, and the reason is our ecosystems aren't healthy without them. If you take a pair of mice, male and female, and you assume that they breed every 3 weeks, and that their offspring are ready to breed in 3 weeks, and each time they breed, they have 4 males and 4 females. In 1 year, and this is unlimited food, no predators, no disease, no death, nothing. In 1 year, you'll have 500 million mice. So what you think about with snakes is snakes are the mouse controls. They are the mouse traps, nature's mouse traps. A hawk eats mice, yes. Cats eat mice, yes. But neither one of those can get to where the mice are on a consistent basis. Snakes go right down their holes and find them and eat them. So every time a snake is killed, just think about a snake will eat 10 to 20 mice a year. Think about the numbers of mice that are being held back. Now, why is it important? People are like, well, who cares if there's that many mice? Then there's more food for the hawks and the cats. And the reason is the reason is that mice are so devastating to the ecosystem. If you have more mice than you're supposed to, the food for the birds disappears, the food for the forage for deer is decreased, and a lot of other things. The food chain and the ecosystem just collapses. This snake here, just to get us started, is a rosy boa, and it's one of the 2 boa species that we have here in the United States. This snake, it occurs in California, it occurs in Nevada, and a little, just a few years ago, was documented in Arizona. So rosy boas are kind of a snake that not many people actually, they live in California their entire lives, and they don't know they exist there. One thing is they're nocturnal. They live underground for the majority of their lives, and they don't get very big. This is a full adult.
Wow.
So if you think about it, this is a boa that just doesn't get huge. Some neat facts about them is, I don't know if you guys will be able to see this. It's a little fuzzy. I'm trying to show here. Is that their jaw, if you notice, is not at the front of their mouth. It's just right here. The snakes don't like it when you grab their head, by the way. So I never hold a snake this way unless I'm showing. But if you can see right there, it's a little. It's not quite in focus, but you can see how the bottom jaw kind of sits up in the top jaw. That's to help them burrow in the sand and in the soil, so that they don't get dirt in their mouth. If you think about it, if your mouth is right at the front, you're pushing through sand, it gets full of dirt. Now you saw it sticking out its tongue. That's part of the way that they smell, which is quite neat. In that the reason a snake's tongue is forked is you can smell left and right. So if you come up to a mouse trail and you're sniffing along it, and then you need to know which way the mouse goes, right? So if you smell left and then you smell right, you can say they can detect the minute difference on where the smell is strongest, and then they can follow the mouse. That's pretty important, because if they went the wrong way all the time, they wouldn't have much to eat. But they really know how to go the right way. And if you think about a rattlesnake that actually bites a mouse and then lets go of it, and they need to know where the mouse died, how far away is it, and how to find it again. And so that's where they call it bifurcated tongue really comes in handy. Let me get out another snake that has a little bit bigger eyes. These snakes that live underground all the time don't have very big eyes. They're tiny. They can still see, but they're really not a visual predator where they're using their eyes to get around. So remember, this snake was from California. Let's jump to New England and the East Coast. And you have there is a black rat snake. Now this is just a small one. This snake will they can get to 7 feet long. Most of the time you only find them 4 or 5 feet in the wild. And black rat snakes, just like their name says, is that they're just amazing creatures in that they are always found where you'd find rats and mice, under boards, in barns. They're incredible climbers. They can climb right up a brick wall to go get a bird's nest or something. They do eat a lot of birds.
I flipped over a metal sign years ago when I was a kid, and there were 7 large ones underneath it, and I scared the living daylights out of myself.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, if you can see its eyes, I'm trying to. This camera's really not quite focusing as fast as I'd like it to. But these rat snakes have really big eyes. And folks, the researchers have done studies on how do they know which tree to climb to find the birds. And they learned that if they take 2 model nests, they put 2 different branches or 2 different poles or tree trunks going up to where the nests are. They put nests on both of them, and then they fly a model bird to one of them repeatedly. The snake could learn to see the bird from the ground and knew which tree to climb. So rat snakes, excellent climbers, are using the bird, the parent bird, to find the nest. And so once they get up into the nest, they rate it, which you might say is kind of, if you're a bird lover, really you wouldn't want these snakes around. But remember, they're part of the natural ecosystem, and that's a natural predator of birds. Here, I'm trying to show you how it climbs. It can hold its body up, bridge its body quite well, so it can reach the next tree branch.
Yeah, stick it right up to the lens there if you can, and we'll see if something. There we go.
Oh,
You got to make that. There we go. Perfect. That's good. He's coming right through the computer at me.
And John, are you picking up the second video at all feed from the camera?
Yeah. Yes, I am.
Okay, excellent.
So, this is actually one of my favorite snakes in the world, just because they were one that I caught a lot growing up as a kid. So a little bit about me now. Like I said before, I'm the director of the Center for Snake Conservation. Snakes have been a passion of mine. Now, I just don't like them. It's a passion. And some people think I'm a little bit crazy about it. But a total passion since before I can even have any early memories. I don't know where it came from. My dad's not afraid of snakes. My mother, she's okay with snakes. She encouraged me going out and catching them and bringing them in the house for a day or two. I grew up in Georgia, so there were lots of different snakes there. And I just played in the woods, and my whole time growing up, I was always looking for snakes. And once I started getting older, I decided I wanted to breed snakes. And so I started breeding them, and that just didn't work well for me. So as I went to college, the professor I met up with in college is one of the world's leading turtle biologists. But he had a study site in Nebraska where he actually took me as a freshman. I took a semester off, went out there to do research, and I got to do research on bull snakes. And bull snakes, actually, I should have brought one up. I have a bull snake here at the house. But bull snakes are incredible snakes. They get really big, and they're mean. Well, they're not mean. Snakes can't be mean, and that's something a lesson that I'd like you to think about is there's no snake that is absolutely aggressive. And you think about the word aggression, and people say, oh, that snake was aggression, or that cottonmouth chased me. Aggression is there's an intent to harm. Snakes don't want to eat you. They don't want to harm you. They just want to be left alone. So even when a snake comes at you, chances are you're probably between where it wants to go and where it was. And so the whole cottonmouth thing, well, the cottonmouth chased me. Well, if you just step to the side 3 feet, the cottonmouth might turn towards you, and what it's interested in is not chasing you. It's interested in the motion and in the vibration that's being made, thinking it might be a frog or something to eat. And so when the folks are always like, it's chasing me, actually it's really curious about what you are. Cottonmouths are got a huge bad reputation for what they really are. So that's a little bit about me. I went to graduate school and studied snakes and actually studied what's inside of them. They're parasites, which I won't bore you with, but they're just as fascinating as the snakes themselves. But then I got a real job in the real world, and I decided I needed to go back to my passion, which are snakes, and so the Center for Snake Conservation was born. And for the folks out there, we're a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and we look forward to just growing. And I'll tell you a little bit about about some of our programs and how we're growing nationally, and of course, we're actually looking to expand internationally. That's the black rat snake, which is just a really cool snake with its natural history. Now, that was the eastern U.S. We've been to California. Well, let's go to Texas. In Texas, South Texas, they have a snake that looks like this.
Oh, wow.
And this is called a gray-banded king snake. So you see the gray bands, and it's a king snake. And how do you think the snake got its name, king snake? Rat snake got its name because it always seems to be found where rats would be living because it's eating them. And the boa got its name because it's just a small boa, like the boa constrictor, but it happens to be small and lives in the United States, that rosy boa. And the gray-banded king snake, of course, it's got the gray bands. And king snake, it gets its name that way because it is the king of the snakes. And the reason it's the king of the snakes is they eat other snakes. They're quite good at it. And I'll show you a king snake later that's even better at it than this one. This snake in the wild eats mostly lizards and rodents, a few birds if it can find a ground nesting bird, but mostly time lizards and rodents, and maybe some small snakes. But it's related to the king snakes that are some of the king snakes that just fully target eating other snakes. So look at those gray bands. and I just think this is one of the coolest snakes in Texas. This is one of the few snakes that I haven't seen in the wild. So I keep a life list. A lot of people do that with birds, and a lot of us herpetologists is what you call people who study reptiles and amphibians. It comes from the Greek word herpes, which doesn't mean herpes. It actually means creepy crawlies. And so herpetologists, we keep life lists just like the birders do. And this is one of the ones that is still missing from mine, and I hope to someday get down to Texas and find them. Another thing about this snake is this is one snake that has some serious conservation concerns. In the 70s and 80s, it was seriously over-collected for the pet trade. Beautiful snake. I can't blame people for wanting it. I had pet snakes growing up. I encourage people to have pet snakes now. They do my job for me, if you think about it, what a pet snake will do. He's not really in focus, but he's checking out the camera there. Think about how pet snakes do a job for me. You have a pet snake, your friends come in the house, they see a friendly snake. They don't see something, they don't see it as an evil thing that's trying to bite them and kill them. So this was common for people to go to South Texas and they drive the roads, and it used to be that there were cars about 200, 300, maybe 400 yards apart driving the roads, and then if you saw one of the brake lights, you knew that they had a gray banded king snake crossing the road, or maybe some other snake, and they were collected that way. Texas now has made the collection of snakes on the roads illegal. That's more of a safety thing than the protection of the snakes, because they don't want cars just stopping in the road for a snake. And it's helping this, but it is, and conservation-wise, it's helping the gray banded king snakes kind of rebound their populations. They were over-collected. Now they're being seen a lot more, and we're just this thing that you can't drive and pick up snakes on the road that Texas passed is helping this one survive the pet trade. Plus, there's so many in the pet trade now that the people are breeding them, and they're captive bred, which is a great way to get a snake. If you ever do want a pet snake, make sure it's been captive bred, not collected from the wild. But there's the gray banded king snake. It just is a fascinating animal, because I just think they're super pretty with those gray saddles or bands on them.
We've only got one up here, the Massasauga rattler, and it's really not even that deadly.
Yeah, Massasaugas are kind of a snake that we're really concerned with, and a lot of reasons is the habitat loss is huge, the loss of wetlands for farming, and then also the roads. Rattlesnakes are really slow at crossing roads, and so as soon as the human population increases, the number of cars increase, and they get killed. And now there's a third whammy on them in that they have the undescribed, unreally diagnosed fungal disease that gets them in the winter, just like white nose syndrome. I don't know if you've heard about it with bats, and it doesn't. The fungus doesn't really kill the snake directly, but it reduces their ability to. They spend so much energy in fighting it that they get really skinny. They don't eat, and then they actually will come out in the middle of winter on a day that's bright and sunny to try and bask, to try and raise their body temperature, just so that they can get rid of the fungus. All right, let's leave North America. Let's go to Australia. And this is a children's python from Australia. And this is as big as they get. It's actually in the same genus and same genus as the smallest python in the world. And that smallest python in the world is called an anthill python, if you can believe it, because it's small as an anthill. But the children's python is a little bit bigger, and these snakes are famous for their ability to catch bats out of the midair. They'll target bats. They'll find a bat cave, and they'll climb up there and coil around something. They're really good at holding on with just parts of their body, and then they wait. And let me see if I can get this, if you guys can see this here. Remember, snakes don't like being held, but you see those little pits on the side of its face? It's not quite in focus. Let's see here. There. See those little pits on the side of its face? See how its eyes are slit? This is a non-venomous snake, and a lot of people think that when you have cat eyes, you're venomous, and that's not true. This is a non-venomous snake, and those pits on the side of its face are heat-sensing pits. And it's not just heat sensing, it's real true heat vision. They can see in heat vision, and it's said that their heat vision is as good or better than what we use as our heat vision goggles or whatever to see at night, which is pretty incredible if you think about that's a snake that has that. So the heat sensing pits, the snake, if you see a bat, it's coming at you, and you try and strike at it, you're probably going to miss, because by the time you see it and react, it's gone by. If you smell a bat with its tongue, it's probably going to go right past you. You clearly don't have time to catch it. But if you can see it before it's coming, and you can see the heat of it and strike where the heat's going to be, that's how they catch bats. And they're really good at catching bats out of midair and eating them. So this is a snake from Australia. It's called a children's python, and it's not a children's python because it's good for kids. It's called a children's python. They do make good pets, but it's called a children's python because a British museum director was the one that described it, and his name was John Childrens. So that's how it got its name. So one of my favorite snakes. Remember, that's a python. Ready? Let's jump to Africa and see a different kind of python. You guys may have seen this python before. This is a ball python. And ball pythons are pretty fascinating animals. They're from Africa. And the way they protect themselves, let's see if I can get this to do it. I don't ever recommend anybody else to do this to a snake. But I'm tapping it on the head. And what it's doing now, as I tap it on its head, if you watch, if you see inside there, look what it's done with its head. I don't know if you can quite see inside. It's protecting its head. It's coiling it up. And it's called a ball python because it will coil up and completely put its head inside of the coils and makes a ball. And so its head is protected inside that ball. So why is that good for a snake, to be able to put its head in a ball and protect it? Well, what in Africa might run across this snake and decide it wants to eat it? And how do you kill a snake? Well, the fastest way to kill a snake is to sever its spinal column or crush its head right here. So maybe a mongoose. There's mongooses in Africa. They're really good at catching the cobras. And how they catch the cobra's sitting up and it's striking at them, and they get around and grab it as it strikes. And as it misses, they'll grab it behind the neck and kill it. Well, if you ball up, the mongoose is going to get pretty tired of trying to bite you and kill you. What if you ran across a baby lion who likes to play with things? Well, you coil up and you protect your head. And so maybe that lion will play with you and get tired quickly instead of something that's running away or slithering away really fast. That wouldn't be a good thing if something like a lion who likes to chase other animals, or even the smaller predators. It's just a good way of protecting yourself because they have such big, thick bodies that in their injury they can take a bite and survive it. The snakes are pretty resilient to injury as long as their spinal column isn't broken.
Cameron, we have a couple of questions. I think Jamie's been wrangling them here. So, Jamie, can you forward on a question or two?
Yes. Darren Swenson has asked, how many snakes do you have at your facility?
Lots. I don't really answer that question very directly and straightforward. Right now we have, I will answer it this way. Right now the Center for Snake Conservation has 4 teaching collections in Colorado, and we're working on getting one in Georgia right now, and we're working on getting one in California to try to start spreading out our mission of bringing, most of the time we take snakes to classrooms, similar to what we're doing now. It's just live, in the classroom. And that's where we want to promote our mission is to kids. Right. Kids are naturally not afraid of snakes, and so it makes it really easy for us to get them to think about how fascinating they are and how cool they are, and then they go home and talk to their parents who are like, ooh, snakes, but then they kind of get to the fascinating aspect of them, and it's great. To answer the question of how many snakes I have, let's just say more than 30, less than 50. So, and that's about all I'm going to answer for that question.
Okay. He does have a few others. They're brief questions. He wondered, did you go to school to learn about snakes?
Yes, I actually, like I said, I went to college with a professor who really encouraged me to study snakes. I studied the bull snakes, and then from there I went to graduate school, and that was what I did was snakes. You don't get to just study snakes. I actually studied ecology, which ecology is the interactions of an organism and the environment. And so that's what I was looking at, and actually the parasites inside the snake. Of a lot of these snakes is I read a lot of books, and I get outside and I try and watch them or find them in their natural habitats as much as possible, which really, you learn a lot just finding a snake in the woods. You learn what they're doing, which is such a valuable lesson for anybody. And hopefully in the future we're going to take some virtual photo walks where we can go and catch some real snakes in the wild, and you guys can see it firsthand on what's going on.
Okay. There's just a couple of others. He was asking, why are snakes so slimy?
They're not slimy. There's no slime at all. If you look at my hand, it's completely dry. There's no slime on a snake whatsoever. They are smooth as can be. They feel incredible. If you ever get a chance to go somewhere where you can feel a snake, please do. They surprise people on what they feel like. People are always amazed how cool. They're cool to the touch most of the time, and just that they're feeling. There's no slime up. They're dry and there's no slime. It's just like a really fine suede leather is what they feel like.
What's the range of the bull snake?
Range of bull snake has a massive range. It's probably one of the biggest ranges of snakes in the U.S. It ranges from the Great Plains all the way almost to the Mississippi River. There's some places in Illinois where it's isolated. It ranges way up into Canada and south to Texas and all the way over to the Rocky Mountains. And then there's a different subspecies, and they also actually start calling them gopher snakes that go around the Rocky Mountains across the desert, and then it goes up into the Great Basin all the way up to Washington and Oregon, and then into California. It has a massive range.
What's the size of the snake? The maximum?
Bull snake?
Yeah.
A bull snake, they typically are about 5 feet long, but they can get to almost 8 feet.
But they've got a diamond-shaped kind of head, big head.
When they're when they're not angry, or when they're not scared, I should say, their head is actually quite rounded and pointed, kind of like that rosy boa's head, and they actually they actually use it to dig with. They push their nose in the sand, kink it to the side, and pull backwards. And so they're digging. There's a digging motion with that head. When they get defensive, where you scare them, they will flatten it out and look like a rattlesnake. They hiss like a rattlesnake. And within the next week or so, we're going to publish a video on bull snakes that explain exactly about their defensive behaviors. And actually, you get to do a little test at the end of the video to see if you can tell the difference between a bull snake hiss and a rattlesnake rattle. I'm guessing you can't do it.
I was on a canoe trip when I was just in my 20s, and my wife was behind me, and we just landed on this island. I was walking forward bare feet, and all I heard behind me was like this, and I guess my foot was just about ready to come down on one of these big bull snakes. And his head, I remember, was diamond-shaped, so huge. And I'm telling you, it woke me right up. I wasn't expecting to see that.
Oh yeah, and they can act exactly like a rattlesnake, which is unfortunate because it gets them killed a lot by humans. But if you think about it, what it does protect them from is being trampled by. Historically, it would have been by bison, because if they get big and mean like a rattlesnake, they're seen, and the bison will go right around them. And now it's cows and horses. They'll go right around the snake. You watch them, a herd of cows just spread around the snake and give it room. And that's one reason the bull snakes act that way.
After we'd explored the island, we found large skins all over the island, and it had one lone tree in the middle of it, so you could always identify that island. And on future canoe trips, we went around that island. We didn't want to camp there anymore.
Yeah.
If you ever need a place to go searching for bull snakes in Canada, I'll take you there.
Darren has two other questions. He just wondered, how long do snakes live?
Great question, and it really depends on the species. A lot of the small snakes will live 2 or 3 years, a rapid turnover in their life cycle. And then something like a ball python or even a bigger python, let's say even an anaconda, will live to 20, maybe 30 years. And in captivity, a lot of snakes will live a lot longer than they normally would in the wild.
Right. And the last one he's asking is, what is your favorite snake?
Oh,
Tough one.
that's a really tough one, and it changes a lot. Oh man, that's a really hard question for me to answer. Why don't we? I will answer that question with the last snake I'll show you, and you'll wonder why it's one of my favorite snakes. But after I discuss what it is and a little bit about it, you'll kind of understand that it may just be the coolest snake in the world.
Okay. Well, I'm sure he appreciates you taking the time to answer.
What time is it? Do you know? How we doing on time?
Oh, we're fine.
Okay, cool.
8:32.
Oh, perfect.
Or 32 after.
See if we can get this with some decent light on it. Just zero in on the snake now. This is a California king snake. And California king snakes are typically don't look like this. Typically they're banded or striped, and this one is one that's been developed in the pet trade to be mostly white or yellow, and I like to call them banana phases or high white. And king snakes, like I said before, are famous for eating other snakes, and they're so famous for it that if you take soak a king snake in water and take the water and spray a king snake in the wild with it, the king snake will actually, or the rattlesnake, spray a rattlesnake with it, I'm sorry, the rattlesnake all of a sudden do some really strange defensive behaviors. They don't curl up and hide their head. What they'll do is they'll bridge their body up, put their head and their tail down, and bridge their body up, because the way a king snake hunts is it follows or catches a rattlesnake is it follows up its body until it finds the head, and then it grabs it. Well, if the body is up off the ground, it can't do that. But this is part of the program here that we do, and we feed a snake for you so that you can see the unique adaptations of how a snake eats. Think about it. A snake has a little head, no arms or legs, can't cut up its food. It eats its food whole, and it does some amazing things. So I'm gonna give this snake a mouse. See if he'll go here. Oh, are you gonna be difficult? Let's see if he's gonna be. Of course, the mouse is not alive. A lot of people think snakes won't eat mice that aren't alive, and that can be true for some species. And normally, king snakes are pigs. I'm trying to think what other snake I have that will eat for us, and I do have another one that we can use, but it just might take longer because this one obviously is not interested, which is strange.
I've been clicking around him with my camera on this side too, so.
Well, normally he'll eat in front of a whole group of kids.
Oh.
All right, we're gonna switch snakes. This one failed. Failure. You never know with a snake. It's just like anything else. All right, we'll try the children's python here. This one's a pretty aggressive feeder, but normally it eats rats, so it may not. Boy, I'm having trouble. I'm striking out right and left. Don't worry, I have plenty of snakes that we can get to do this. We'll just have to work through all of them. Smelling it, if you watch it.
Well, just give it to Dominic. He'll have a go.
All right. Failing. I didn't want to try this snake. because the mouse is kind of big for it, but yeah, it's a little too big for it, but we'll try it anyways. We'll give this one a little bit of help. Here we go. So, is there a way we can get a little bit closer? Uh-oh. Don't give up.
Oh.
He took it, but now he's giving up. Okay, let's see if he goes for it. No. Wonder if this mouth smells funny. It's acting like it does. We get our mice, unfortunately we get them frozen, and so sometimes they smell just a little bit funny to the snakes, and it takes them a while to figure out that it's really a mouse, and I think that's what's the case that's happening here.
Somebody had a question, Cameron, about the snakes in New York State.
Like which types they have there?
Yeah.
They have three venomous snakes, I'm sorry, in New York. They have the timber rattlesnake and the Massasauga rattlesnake, like we were discussing earlier, and then the copperhead. And then also, for non-venomous snakes, they have a milk snake, which is, the milk snake is, I'm going to try this king snake again. The milk snake is kind of looks a little bit like the gray banded king snake, except for the blotches are smaller. They have a smooth green snake. They have a rough green snake. They have garter snakes, several different species of garter snake in New York. And they have black racers and hognose snakes. So there's quite a diversity of snakes in New York. Well, I think we're going to have to pass on the snake feeding today, because they're not. This happens sometimes, and if we have time right at the end, I'll run down to the snake room and I'll grab a different snake at the end just to see if people want to stick around and watch one eat. We can do that.
We can go as long as you want to, so don't worry about it.
Okay. So
there's no time limit.
I'm going to put this mouse in with the snake, and I'll keep an eye on it to see if he starts eating it, and then we'll pull it back out. Sorry about that, but we have two other snakes to show you that are pretty cool. Remember I said the last one is my favorite. But let's go back to Australia and see a little bit bigger of a snake. And this is a carpet python. Carpet pythons, they get to 6 or 7 feet long. This one's about 4 feet long. This is the snake that made me like pythons and boas. I didn't like them. I never did. I was more of a king snake, corn snake, rat snake fan. And then I got this snake. We get our snakes. Most of them are donated to us. We will buy a snake if it's something that we need in our teaching collection. But most of the snakes, people get snakes. They don't realize how big they get or how much they eat. And so we'll get them. We'll adopt them for anybody, even anywhere in the country, if we can figure out how to get the snake from them through our volunteer network. But carpet pythons are just amazing in that they start out small. They start out as these amazing tree climbers. And they'll climb trees, and you can see how it's holding its head up the entire time, and that it can, look at it, just bridge to my head, and it will actually climb around my head even. Climb on my body. I can sit here all day long with this snake just hanging out with me because it's still small. When they get bigger, it gets about this big around, and and then they don't climb as much. They get kind of lazy and they sit on the ground and wait for food to come to them. And so they're not looking for food, and they'll still move around. But if you learn about carpet pythons, they eat things that are gigantic. That's why I brought the snake after our feeding snake, which didn't eat, but they eat absolutely massive prey items. They can get wallabies or other kind of tree kangaroos, and they eat them. Snakes are only limited I mean, they're not very limited about the size of things can eat. We're limited. If you look here, we're limited. We have a connection here, and our jaw here is stuck to our skull. So we're limited to that. We're also limited by the bones in our throat, our vocal cords, and our collarbones. And the snake's pulling the tripod. Our collarbones, even if we could get something in our mouth, our collarbones and ribs would stop it. Snakes don't have those bones, and they actually have another bone in their jaw that acts like a fulcrum, and it lets the jaw become bigger. It lets it pull down, stretch. So people say they can disconnect their jaws. That's not true. That's a total myth. What they do is they have an extra bone which allows their mouth to open up wider. They have flexible bones in their skull. If you feel your skull, it's hard as a rock. A snake's whole head is very flexible. And down here at the bottom of their between the two bones here is a very elastic piece of ligament that allows it to spread out. And then what's fascinating is a snake can't swallow. What do you mean a snake can't swallow? I mean, how does it get its food down its mouth? What a snake does is it pushes its body over the prey. Think about it. It pushes its body, pushes its mouth over the top. So here's the snake's jaw. Our jaw goes like this, just from the elbow, opens up. Snakes have this other bone here that allows it to open up like this, and then it opens up like this. And then how they push their body over, they push forward, and they hold the prey item with their teeth. All their teeth are pointed backwards. Snake's getting away. All their teeth are pointed backwards, and so then after they push their head forward a little bit, they hook those teeth in, which keep the prey from falling out. So they keep pushing in, and it looks like they're pulling it in with their teeth, their jaws that move separately, but really all they're doing is pushing forward and then holding it in place with those teeth. And so our jaw goes like this, so we're very limited to what we eat. A snake's goes like this, and they can eat gigantic prey items. And it's fun to watch a snake eat, and I don't think, yeah, that snake's not going to do it. But this is our just a cool snake. I'm beginning to love pythons and boas because of it. Are you guys ready to see my favorite snake? We're going to have to back up the camera a little bit here because this is a bigger snake. This snake is, and sometimes it's not the friendliest snake. So we're going to have to see how it does. Now, when I say not the friendliest snake, I'm not meaning that it's aggressive. I'm meaning that the snake is scared and it gets defensive. And that's when snakes, if you don't ever grab a snake, you don't ever try and hurt or harm the snake, nothing's going to happen to you. But when you reach into a tank or a bucket like this and there's a snake in it, it might just strike you.
Oh, we're going to need a bigger lens.
That's a lot of snake.
All right, so this snake, notice how it's wet. Where do you think it lives? In the water. Yeah, this is a baby anaconda. This one's just over a year old. So think about how big an anaconda can become. Let me show its head to you, in that their eyes, move your hands back, Dominic, in that their eyes, I kind of learned this snake enough to know when she gets really unhappy, and she's doing all right now, but their eyes and their nostrils, see if we can get it to focus on the head here. Turn it sideways. Come on. Focus a little bit. All right, see the eyes and nostrils there. It really wants to look at the camera. It's checking you guys out. Its eyes and nostrils are on the top of its head. What other organism has eyes and nostrils on top of its head? If you think about it for a little bit longer. Alligators and crocodiles. And how do they hunt? They sit there underneath the water. They sit underneath the water with their nostrils and eyes just above so they can breathe and see. Same goes for the anaconda. They are amazing at doing that, and they'll eat deer. They'll eat the world's largest rodent, which is a capybara. These snakes are from South America. They occur over most of South America. Most people think that there's just one type of anaconda. There's actually 5 different types of anacondas. It's not the longest snake in the world, which a lot of people think. There's been only 1 or 2 individuals that have ever measured over 20 feet long. So actually, I'm going to sit down here again so you guys can see me. But so notice I kind of hold this snake a little bit out at arm's reach. I don't ever mind being bitten by a snake. It doesn't hurt like people think it does. It's different. It's being like, it feels like you're getting a shot, but you get lots of shots at the same time in one spot, and it will quickly go away. The snake thankfully is starting to get to know me, so she acts a little bit better. So with the where was I with the snake? I was thinking, because she was looking at me a little funny, so I went to something else. But she's oh, the heaviest snake. All right, the longest snake in the world. If I took a poll of your guys' opinions, a lot of people are going to say 40 feet, 30 feet, 20 feet. 20 is closer than 30 or 40. The longest snake ever measured is a reticulated python, which was 23 feet 7 inches long. Not as big as most people think. The reason snakes are bigger than they think is that this snake is heavy, so she weighs about 15 pounds. So
Well, I guess it's all Jennifer Lopez's fault.
oh yeah, absolutely, for the movie Anaconda. There, see that? Just decided to bite me. So they aren't as big as people think. I mean, people think the snakes are gigantic, and the problem is they try to measure them alive, and you cannot measure a snake alive. If you go to our YouTube page, or it might be our Vimeo, I'll send John the link. I measure one of our larger pythons, and I show how to measure. Sorry, I have to give her a good shake here. How to measure a snake that's alive, and it's still very difficult, and you can measure it 10 times and get 10 different measurements. And so that's where these errors and these examples of these gigantic snakes come from. But when you actually measure the biggest one that's ever been measured, it's only 23.7 feet long.
When you're bitten, do they lock on and not release, or do they just bite?
No. Most snakes, when they give a defensive bite like that, they let go immediately. The reason they let go, if you think about it, if your only defense in the entire world is your teeth, and you lock on your teeth on something, you no longer can defend. So most of the time they let go. There are snakes like the king snake every now and again, because I'm holding other snakes and they eat other snakes, will give me a predatory bite where they actually start chewing on you and start eating you, which is kind of funny. It's not a good feeling. That's where their jaws are really powerful. But you have to know, you just have to understand that the snake is not trying to harm you. It thinks your finger is another snake and it wants to eat it because you smell like a snake or you smell like a mouse. So this is the heaviest snake in the world. They can get over 200 pounds, and they typically go to 15 to 18 feet long. If you get a really big monster one, it's going to be 20 feet long. So let's see if we can get that head again so you guys can see the eyes and nostrils that are at the turn your head just a little bit longer, a little bit wider. You can, so that they're on the top of their head, so they hunt like an alligator or crocodile does. They sit there, they lay in wait, and they just wait and wait and wait until the prey comes by. They grab it, and this is a constrictor. There's 3 different types of ways that snakes eat. They constrict, they eat things alive, or they use venom to kill their food. And the venom is really, it's more of a digestive agent. It helps to digest the prey item from the inside out, while the snake is because if it's too big of an item, the snake has a potential to rot inside the snake instead of it being digested. So that's what venom is for. So this is just a baby anaconda. Just think about it when she gets to be 10 feet, 12 feet long. She's just going to be beautiful. I just think they're really cool snakes. Even though this one gets scared every now and again, I just have to remember that I'm bigger than it is. I'm threatening it. I'm holding it. Things that are completely unnatural to the snake that likes to live in water. Being up in the air like this cannot feel very good for the snake. It'd rather be underwater.
How do they swim? Somebody's asking.
Oh, they swim just like they crawl, and they use they use an S motion as they're swimming. And what that S motion does is it propels water backwards, and so they go forward, just like a propeller does. It's angled though to push the water backwards, which helps the snake move forward. And they swim just like that. They can swim underwater or on top of water. I can take any other questions here if you guys would like. I can go try and find another snake that would eat. We can. Come on. I can tell you a little bit about our goals and our ambitions here in the next year or so. We're gonna start developing a center where next time you visit Colorado, you'll be able to come in and see these snakes firsthand, touch them, hold them, or we can do more video photo walks from the center where we can have a lot of fun getting to know some of our other snakes that have other cool natural histories. And so different colors, see the ones that are red, black, and yellow, that sort of thing. And then we also have a snake count, which I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Audubon bird counts. They have a Christmas count, they have a breeding bird count in the spring, they have the backyard feeder count. We do a snake count, and we have one in May, and we have one in September. And they're a lot of fun. We'll definitely do a photo walk during a snake count so that we can get out and show you exactly what we do to count snakes. And what we're doing is we're trying to find where maybe a rare snake is, or maybe there's a unique population of snakes, and we're going to target those and say that this is where we need to conserve the snakes. Conservation of snakes there are no efforts besides a few programs for endangered snakes. We're unique in that we focus on all snakes. There's no such thing as an endangered snake in our mind. Yes, there are snakes that really need help. Technically, they're endangered, but we treat the common garter snake in terms of conservation the same as the eastern indigo snake or the Massasauga that have protections the government protects. We just think they're that important to our ecosystems. Another thing that we're doing is they live in basements? Is that the question? Do they live in basements?
Hold the sign up a bit. They live in basements. Somebody's asking.
Well, there are snakes that live in basements. I helped a woman here in Colorado. She had a place where the snakes were hibernating. They were hibernating the entire winter in her basement, and then spring came, and some of them, instead of going outside, came into the basement. And she didn't like that very much. She was not a snake fan. I helped her work on her yard and how to find where the snakes were going in and out. And she no longer has snakes in her basement.
What's your take on the problem in Florida with all the African pythons and things that got released?
That is a very, very good question. I'm not a fan of those snakes being there. I love snakes, but those snakes are not in that ecosystem. They're not supposed to be there. Unfortunately, they're here to stay. They're not going anywhere. We're going to need to study them and see what the impacts of the ecosystem are going to be. Like I said, snakes are very critical and important to a healthy ecosystem. But if you put a snake into an ecosystem that didn't know the snake didn't naturally have snakes, it's going to change that ecosystem. Look at the island Guam. A brown tree snake was introduced there, and most of the animals that live there, I think 90% of them have gone extinct. I don't get the exact number because snake was a novel predator, and it came in and they didn't have any defenses against snakes, so it wiped them out. Same thing's happening in Florida. I don't think it's going to wipe any species out, but it definitely has reduced the number of mammals that occur. When you used to drive through the Everglades, you would see dead raccoons and possums and skunks and all these other mammals on the roads. Now there aren't any. You can drive the roads and you don't see dead animals on the side of the road.
Well, the number of snakes they say they have is huge.
Absolutely. The estimates is, I've heard up to 40,000, maybe even 100,000. It's a unique thing that I'm lucky enough that two of the Center for Snake Conservation board members are directly involved with the python issue. One is an invasive species biologist, so he's involved in just understand where are they going to go, how are they surviving, and the other one is a research biologist who's doing the research on what are they doing and what's their impact to the ecosystem right now. So it's kind of an interesting thing. I wish it hadn't happened. It's happened. They're here to stay. So now we need to study and figure out what's happening to the Everglades.
Right. We'll leave it up to the audience here. Does somebody want to see a snake eat a mouse, or should we save that for another time? I think a couple of the places have dropped off because it's coming up on a full hour now. So we could do that another time. If you'd like.
Yeah, why don't we plan another one where we just do that, and we can feed several different snakes, and people can come and go as they want to watch them. Maybe we do several different angles at the same time of watching it eat, but it is a fascinating thing, and I can do more about the anatomy of a snake and how it gets that gigantic. It's like you eating a 50-pound cheeseburger without cutting it up and without taking bites. Imagine that. That's what a snake is doing.
Over here at Tech Buffalo, we really like the idea of getting to watch a few different snakes another time, and come and go. If you can do that, that'd be great.
Absolutely.
Well, excellent. Hopefully, sometime like Cameron was mentioning, as far as going out in the field and seeing some snakes in the wild, at least in this area, I'm always up for tagging along with you. And Cameron and travels around not only the nation, but I think you also world traveling to bring a lot of dispelling myths, bringing good information about snakes and snake conservation. So hopefully, we will definitely have some opportunities to join him out in the field here soon.
We'll have a meeting, Cameron, as how we can hook you up with some gear, and wherever you are, you can do a show for us.
Yeah.
Okay. Wrap it up there. Wrap it up, Dominic, and
all right. Well, thanks everyone again for joining us today. I'm Dominic Phillips with Virtual Photo Walks with Cameron Young.
Thanks, guys.
Oh, thank you guys so much for joining us. Thanks for all your questions, and I just want to again thank Cameron here for sharing all of his snakes and teaching us just a little bit more about the herps that we didn't know about here. It's been a great time, and I saw a lot of beautiful creatures here. So again, thanks for your time, and thanks for your time out there.
Thanks for having me. I enjoy this thing. So anytime I get to talk about snakes, I'll do it.
All right, I'll take you up on that. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Bye, guys. Thanks.
Virtual photo walks. Virtual